This is the noon news from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for starting your week out with us. I'm Aja Goare. Our top story this half hour, jury selection is now underway in the murder trial for the man accused of strangling and burning a Crow Agency woman alive last year. 19-year-old DiMarzio Sanchez is being tried in U.S. District Court in Billings on one count of first-degree murder for the death of Royland Ride's horse. Prosecutors plan to use the victim's so-called dying declarations at trial, but defense attorneys argued the dying words should not apply because the victim didn't know she would ultimately die. The victim was beaten during a ride home with Sanchez and 4 other people in April of 2016. When the vehicle stopped in a remote area on the Crow Reservation, Ride's horse was dragged from the car and strangled. Prosecutors say Sanchez then ordered the others to strip the victim before he doused her in gasoline and set her on fire. Ride's horse was hospitalized with third-degree burns for 2 months before her death. 2 co-defendants of Sanchez have already pleaded guilty to lesser charges. The case is expected to go to the jury on Thursday. Meanwhile, the Helena man accused of assaulting a 4-month-old baby will spend time in prison. Aaron Oliphant was sentenced in Lewis and Clark County District Court this morning to 15 years at the Montana State Prison. Oliphant was convicted at trial of felony aggravated assault. Prosecutors say Oliphant severely injured the baby boy in 2016 while the victim's mother was at work. The child suffered a brain bleed and 5 skull fractures. The victim's mother testified her son regularly experiences seizures and has to attend therapy. Oliphant will be under supervision for 5 years after his release. In other news today, President Trump is taking on the FBI over its role in the investigation into Russian interference in the presidential election. CBS's Aja Goare has the details.
Well, I feel badly for General Flynn. I feel very badly.
President Trump spoke to reporters about his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, who could be facing prison time for lying to the FBI. His frustration appeared to be aimed at the Bureau, not Flynn.
Hillary Clinton lied many times to the FBI. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied and they destroyed his life. I think it's a shame.
This is his latest in a series of attacks on the FBI over its role in the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Over the weekend, the president tweeted the FBI's reputation is in tatters and then accused it of a dishonest investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Another weekend tweet has President Trump's opponents questioning whether the president obstructed justice when he fired former FBI Director James Comey.
We swear to tell the truth.
Comey testified that he was fired after the FBI did not honor the president's request to stop investigating Flynn as part of the Russia probe.
What he wanted me to do was drop any investigation connected to Flynn's account of his conversations with the Russians.
The president seemed to suggest that he was aware that Flynn had lied to the FBI, tweeting Saturday, "I had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the vice president and the FBI."
He wanted to protect Mike Flynn lying on his behalf. And then you do get very close to a case of obstruction of justice.
President Trump's personal lawyer, John Dowd, says he, not the president, crafted that tweet. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
Dowd also claims it's not possible to obstruct justice because the president is the nation's top law enforcement officer and therefore incapable of obstructing himself. Republicans are hailing their $1.5 trillion tax bill as a victory for the middle class. But Democrats say the only good thing about the bill is that it's not law yet. The bill cuts the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%. Individuals and families would get a temporary tax cut. On average, a family of 4 earning $75,000 would see its $2,200 benefit disappear by 2025. The bill could hurt people living in higher taxed states because state income tax would no longer be deductible. The Senate legislation also kills Obamacare's individual mandate. Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee was the lone Republican to vote against the bill. Now the Senate and House bills need to be combined. President Trump is expected to receive the final plan by Christmas. One man remains hospitalized today after a shooting in Superior this weekend. The Mineral County Sheriff's Office responded to reports that a man had been shot. The victim was transported to the hospital in need of surgery. The Sheriff's Office, along with the Montana Department of Justice, is in initial stages of the investigation. At last word, no suspect was in custody. A fatal crash near Dillon this weekend leaves one woman dead. Montana Highway Patrol reports the 24-year-old victim is an Idaho Falls native. She was northbound on Highway 15 when her vehicle drifted off the left side of the road late Saturday. She overcorrected and the vehicle rolled multiple times, killing her. Officials say the woman was wearing a seatbelt. MHP does say, though, drugs and speed are suspected factors in the crash. We turn now to the weather scene with Ed McIntosh, and we have a sight to behold.
That's right. We get into tonight and the possibility of northern lights, always very popular across our region as we have a strong solar storm that'll start to move into the region. This is about a moderate storm, but it's usually pretty good around Montana, even into portions of northern Wyoming. Occasionally we can see the northern lights from this. Here's where the latest forecast map is as far as seeing the northern lights. What it's not taking into account, as you can see, that most of Montana, at least it's possible, with northeastern Montana being under the probable category, is that we still have some clouds and we still have some snow showers around during the day today. We'll talk about that and the outlook as we get later into the week when we come back with the forecast.
Thanks, Ed. It's well known suicide is a widespread problem in Montana, and now a group of young adults in Cascade County want to put intervention in everyone's hands. The free Let's Talk app is the result of a partnership between Alliance for Youth and 2 DECA students from Belt. The app provides resources, information, and connections, offering videos about mental disorders, explaining suicide warning signs, and listing designated safe places to go in Great Falls to talk. Alliance for Youth conducted a survey and recently found 3 out of every 10 high school students in the county experiences sadness or depression multiple days a week. The organization calculated that 22 kids are affected by a mental health issue, and many of them are overlooked.
The stigma behind it makes people believe that there's something wrong with them or they're weak, instead of it's okay, I have an illness and there's things I can do about it. So we want to change that conversation and make it something that's easily brought up. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I think I'm depressed today, and somebody tell you to suck it up. Oh, really? What's that feel like? What can we do? You know, really being there for everybody.
Right now, the app is available in Great Falls, but developers are hoping to soon expand it to Butte, Kalispell, Browning, and Helena. Still ahead on your Monday edition of the Noon News, a man connected to the death and disappearance of a North Carolina toddler makes his first court appearance. Details next. But first, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Aja Goare, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Egg Network. This is the